Hey everyone, I'm Liz Peterson, and today I want to talk to you about automation. I'm going to start by talking to you about Pipedrive's workflow automation and all of the wonderful things that you can do through Pipedrive's automation. What's great about the Pipedrive workflow automation is that it's included in the subscription cost you're already paying to Pipedrive. So anything you can do there is just a bonus. I'm also going to share some of the limitations of Pipedrive's workflow automation and how you can use a third-party tool like Zapier to do even more. All automations are made up of triggers followed by actions. So in Pipedrive's workflow automation, the triggers that you have available are activity, deal, lead, organization, person, and project. And there are 3 sub-functions under there. So an activity is created, an activity is updated, or activity is deleted, and the same is true for any of the other actions. So you have about, just in terms of volume, 18 triggers that you can have to make something happen in Pipedrive. So then what are the actions? So the actions are a bit greater. So if I go to actions here, so you can take actions in any of these places. So some of these are internal to Pipedrive and some of them are external. For example, in Microsoft Teams or in Trello, Slack, or I believe Asana is here as well. Now, I want to just give you a comparison by volume. This does not speak to the actual power of the automations in entirety, but it does give you a sense for what is possible in Pipedrive workflow automation versus a third-party tool. So here you can see in Pipedrive, Asana, there are 2 actions that you can take. So any of our triggers could create a task in Asana or create a project in Asana. Okay. Great. Now I want to go over to Zapier. And this is a third-party integration tool, so it connects web tools kind of across the internet. And if I put in Asana here, this is one of my favorite places to go in Zapier. It's zapier.com/apps. You can type in any app and it'll tell you a summary of triggers and actions that are available for that app. So if I scroll down here and I go to actions, here you can see that these are all of the actions that are available using Zapier. So not only can I create a task or create a project, but I can find a project, find a task, so that I can update the correct one, or I can create a project from a template rather than just strictly creating a project. So there's a lot more possibilities that open up when using a tool like Zapier. So if you're just getting started with automations and you're just wanting to do some basic things, when a deal is updated, move it to this stage, or when this field is no longer blank, create a certain activity, great. Use Pipedrive workflow automations until it is limiting for you. But when you're starting to want to do kind of bigger or more creative automations or integrate with tools that you can't integrate with through Pipedrive's workflow automation, then I highly recommend going to a tool like Zapier and starting to work your automations there. So if you're ever wanting to evaluate a new tool or see what's possible, I recommend coming to zapier.com/apps. I will go ahead and put in Pipedrive here so you can see all of the triggers and actions that are available for Pipedrive. So here, scrolling down, if I go to triggers, you can see these are all of the triggers, and I'll call out that these activity matches a filter, deal matches a filter, I believe there's person matches a filter. All of these matches a filter automations are actually hundreds of automations beneath them, because you're essentially able to create a filter in Pipedrive, which can be fairly complex, and that will be the start of your automation. So as creative as you can get with filters, you can use that to trigger any automation that you want. And then also actions here, right? There's loads of actions that can happen through Zapier and Pipedrive, where again, you're more limited with workflow automations. And the final thing I'll say on this page is if you ever want to evaluate an app, you're deciding if there's a new app that you want to use and you know you want automation to be a big piece of things, you can type in the automation or the tool into this tab here and look at what is available as far as triggers and actions and see if it's going to have what you need in terms of the integration power in this tool. So finally, I want to show you one automation that I have built for my business in Zapier. So I could use Pipedrive's native scheduler. Most people don't, but I could. Or I could use a third-party scheduler. I've opted to use a third-party scheduler for a number of reasons. One is having a lot more control over what happens after something is scheduled in my calendar. So I use Calendly, and you can see in this automation I've built just the number of steps and kind of complexity here that, again, not possible in workflow automations. So I have when a call is booked, if the call is a certain call type, I want to find or create an org. This is something also not available in workflow automations. I don't want there to be duplicates. If I've talked to someone before, or if they've come to me through another lead source and they already exist in my database, great. I'm happy to, I want to document this new touch point with them, but I don't want a whole nother person created, a whole nother org created, a whole nother deal created necessarily. So I use this find function to basically find or create the organization, the person, and the deal rather than strictly creating. Then down here, I've got a path based on something that happens. And then finally in this path, I've got a delay step. And then an activity gets marked as done, which triggers an email and another automation. So again, lots of complexity you can build. You definitely shouldn't start with this, but if you are hitting a ceiling with Pipedrive's workflow automation, this is where you can go to find out more of what you can build with a third-party integration tool. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, especially if you have questions about how to build specific automations. I would be happy to create follow-up videos on how to build things based on your specific questions. So definitely leave your comment and maybe it'll be featured in a future video.